78. Here we go. Premabantor. It's the plural passive. Afriani. So Afrianus's group, his army or his men, were being pressed, Premabantor, in pabulation ways, in the way of fodder. Maybe they were scrambling for other things they could eat as well besides fodder. And aquabantering and fetching water, they were agri, having difficulty. Frumenti copia, so the quantity of their grain, the frumenti, the legionaries, these are the nominative here, the legionaries, they habebant, they were having non-nullem, they had some copia, some amount of grain. Quod, we'll take that as because, 22 dierum, for 22 days from Ilerda, they had been ordered, you see, the Afriani, the legionaries, had been ordered to afferre, to bear or carry 22 days worth of fermentum, of the grain. And now we have a comma, so in contrast, the Cetrato, these are the native people, and the auxiliaries had nullam, they had no grain, quorum, of which they were also facultates, so the facultates, opportunity for preparing to perandum fermentum, was exigua, very small, they had very small opportunity to prepare for this, and again, also because their corporas were in suita, their bodies are unaccustomed to portanda honora, to the carrying of burdens. Okay. Itaque, and so accordingly, a magnus numerous, a great number, eorum of them, cotidiae daily, perfugiabant actually, so the numerous is just singular. So a great quantity of them fled ad Caesarium, to Caesar, on a daily basis, because there's no food. In these descriptions, you might want to say, or these were the angustus res. Res is the matter of the circumstances. Angustus means the narrowness. Here it means difficulty. So this was the difficulty of keeping troops. They kept fleeing to Caesar. Sed ex propositus. Propositus, you probably get propositions and things from that. It usually means the plan. So there we have a duobus from the two proposed concilius plans that they had. It seemed videbator, comparative, explicitius, rather more straightforward or easier or simpler. Videbator takes the infinitive, to revert or to go back to ilerdam. Quod, as because again, because ibi there was polum, a little bit of frumenti, of grain, reliquerent, left. Ibi, it's there again, say themselves, they were confident there, if they went to Ilerda, that they could explicatoros, that's the future, it's male, plural, accusative, there they could explicatoros, they could come up with some, or unroll rest of a concilium, or reliquum, the rest of their plan. So first thing is to get there, then they could explicatos some remaining thing to do. They were confident about it, as we can see from the confidabant. Taraco, this would be another place, an alternate place. This was aberrat, this was away, longius, rather far, another comparative. Quospatio, by which is space or distance. Plures rem posse casus recipere intelligabant. So they understood by this long space that it was possible for many cases, many causes, many things they might recuperate. They might receive a lot of dangerous things. Plures means there's much of it. Cases just means could probably mean dangers here. So if they were going to go away to this further away place, as we can see from the longest, covering this space, they might they understood that they might receive a lot of damage or losses. Hoc probato concilio, so it's a ablative absolute. This concilio, this plan was probato, this was approved, and ex castris, from the camp they profiscontud, they departed, they left. Caesar, another ablative absolute, praemisso equitatu, having sent out prey in advance, is equitatis, knights, qui who, this is their job, was to carperet, who would pick at, you might want to say, the novissimum agmen, this is the rear guard of the column. Again, novissimum means the newest, so the newest means the last. So these cavalrymen would pick at the rear guard, and they would impederet, and carperet and impederet are imperfects. This qui acts like an ut, really. And Caesar Ipsi himself, with his legionibusses, would subsequere. He would subsequently come along afterwards. Nullum intercedebat tempus. So nullum tempum, tempus is a neuter. So there was no time interceding, was interceding, quin from, when the extremi, the last, with the equitibusses, with these knights we mentioned, were proliorenting. Prolio is battling, this is a verb, so there's no time interceding from. There's a bit of a dispute exactly what that means. It could also mean there were no intervals in which the rearmost were not engaged with the cavalry. But you can take that however you like. 79. Genus erat hoc pugne. So the genus, the type, pugne of battle, erat hoc was this. Expedite cohorts, unencumbered cohorts, would claudabant, they would close off the rear of the column, and plurasque, and most of them would subsistabant, they would halt in the locus campestris, in the plains. The locus are places, so in the places where it was flat. C. Mons. If a mountain, ascendendus, is a periphrastic, must be done, anything that's paired up with a essay or sum, etc. So if a mountain had to be ascended, facile means easily, the natura itself loci of the place, the nature itself of the place, would repel about periculum, it would repel the danger. Quod, because from the locus superioribus, from the higher ground, the higher places, those qui who had antecesseranted, cesserant means gone up, anti means before, so those who go up in advance from these high places, the locus superioribus, they could protegabant. Protect, you might want to say, present participling plurals, their own people ascending. So people who went up in advance, they could protect the rest of their men from ascending. So we've covered the flat ground, and now we've covered the mountains and higher ground. Cum vallis, when a valley, or locus declivis. Declivis usually means it's sloping downhill, but you could be going either way on a slope. So in valleys or on a steep place, when they subaerated up to it, even though it's a singular, not a plural, he might be referring to the general himself in a singular. So when he came to a steep place or a valley, and nequi ei, those qui who had antecesseranted, those who had gone in front, so we'll take the negative now, those who had gone in front were not poterant, nequi poterant, they were not able to ferre open, to give resources of help to those who were more antibusing, those who were lingering or coming afterwards. And viro, moreover, Caesar's equitites, were from a loco superior, from a higher place, were conicabanting tellers. They were casting or hurling javelins or some type of weapon in adversos, usually means backwards. So this is the problem when you come to valleys or downhill bits. Those who got in front, they weren't able to bring help to the people behind them, and they were getting lots of spears chucked at them. So tum, then, magna erat in periculo was the res. The res is the circumstances of the matter, was then in great periculo, great danger. Reliquabata, what was left was ut that, cum eis modo locus esset approprinquatum. So when they approached, taking the dative, locuses eis modo of this type, so what was left to them was, when they had approached these kind of places, that legionum, the legion, uberant. They ordered the legion to consistere, to halt, with their standards maybe, the signa, and impetu with an attack or an impetus, and it's Magno from this one here, which controls it. And with a great impetus, they would repel Caesar's equitatum, his cavalry, and with eo submoto, and with this cavalry submoto removed, adverb repente, suddenly, incitatu cursu, by spurring on in their running or their speed, their cursus, themselves, they would demiterant, they would send themselves universally, all of them together, into the valleys. And ita, and thus, having transgressed, having crossed across, versus again, they would consisterant, they would halt in the locus superioribus, in the higher ground. So the big danger was coming to valleys and downhill bits, but this is how they got across. They'd push Caesar's men back and then bolt down into the valley and take up ground on the other side. Okay, nam tantum, for, so great, usually tantum is something like that, could have correlatives, from equitum suorum, so from their own cavalry, auxilius, help was aberrant, was away, there was no help from their own cavalry, quorum of which, numerum, habebant magnum, so which they had a great number of these cavalry, there was no help from them. Tantum just means size, and so that eos, these knights, it looks like, in superioribus prolis, in the earlier battles, when it comes to height, superioribus means higher, when it comes to time, superioribus means earlier, or having gone past, these eos were pateritos. These knights had been thoroughly terrorized from the earlier battles, so they recuperated, they took them, accepted them into the medium agment, into the middle of their column, and ultro of their own accord, they tuorented eos, they looked after them, they safeguarded them. Might make ultro the daily dictionary word. And that's another quick one today. Ultro adverb, besides, beyond, to the other further side, which you can use ultra with an A to do that. And if you use ultro, it also has voluntarily, unaided, and wantingly. So it's often used for voluntary. Easy thing to remember. Quorum. So of which, nulli, none of these knights, which are now in the middle of the columns being protected, licebat, were permitted or may excedere, go out, quin, from the itinerary, from the path they were taking. So they couldn't do this without being exciperanted, taken by the equitatu Caesaris, by the cavalry of Caesar. And that's it for the day.